What is going on, Cowboys Nation? We are back for another film session, and this one's on TJ Bass. Me and you are going to have to come in here and run film on this player, especially if we already did Tyler Smith. And Tyler Smith went out there and really had a good game. Now, with TJ Bass, it wasn't perfect for this player. He did make some mistakes out there on the field, but he also had some solid plays. And the good thing is, he has an understanding of what he's supposed to do playing guard. He played left tackle coming out of college, and there were talks about him playing the center position. So he's a very versatile athlete, and it's great to see he stepped up to the challenge when his name was called. So on this play here, it was great to see TJ Bass going out there and redirecting this defensive lineman. The thing is, in Mike McCarthy's scheme, they love to be able to run in between the tackles. They love for their running backs to get busy in the perimeter, going out there and setting the tone. And these are the type of plays here that can bring the best out of Dak Prescott, because when you can be able to run the ball, that'll be able to set up play action and it will keep the whole playbook wide open. But seeing TJ Bass clamping down on the defender and Rico Dowdle feeding off of it, it was great to see. So activating the system. So zooming in on TJ Bass, they're getting off the ball and he clamps down on this defender. And with Rico Dowdle, he's the type of running back, if he sees it, he has the footwork to be able to make a move and slice right up the field. All it takes is half a second when it comes down to that offensive line. Can you be a guard that can get your hands on these defensive linemen quickly and get in the way? Because these NFL running backs, if they can make one move, they can be gone in a flash. And with these coaches, they stress assignment football. Sometimes these plays that was 5 or 6 yards, they can end up being chunk yards. And seeing TJ Bass going out there and being tough with this defensive lineman, it actually reminds me of the film session that I did on him last year, because he was being physical. He was getting his hands on a lot of these players. So when he did get in the game, I knew he was going to hold it down. And when you're playing against teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers, we know that they have really, really strong guys in the trenches. So this was definitely a big test for him. But he went out there and played tough this game. And that's exactly what we need from this player. One thing I like about TJ Bass, you will see on a lot of reps where he can be able to read and diagnose quickly. If there's situations where he's not guarding the guy, he can go out there and be a helping hand. And this rep here was the final play of the game where Jalen Tolbert scored a touchdown. And literally on this play, I went crazy. And that defensive end, he's going to try to spin off on Tyler Smith. But seeing TJ Bass reading it and attacking that defensive end before he can be able to get to Dak Prescott and finishing his food got me fired up, Cowboys Nation. So we'll go ahead and split it. So locking in on that defensive end, he's getting off the ball and he tries to spin on Tyler Smith. But seeing TJ Bass turning his head and seeing that play, these are the details that we have to break down, Cowboys Nation. Thumping this player and sitting on him, removing this guy completely out the play. And these are the things that you like to see, Cowboys Nation. When you're playing that offensive line position, you have to have peripheral vision. You got to be paying attention to everything, because there are times where the offensive tackle, he might get beat, and that half a second could be the biggest difference. And he went out there and caught onto it and made sure he wasn't going to get to Dak Prescott. And even though we might not be seeing him on the field as much right now, when me and you are coming in here and breaking this down of this player, and when he does get his chance to get into the game, we'll feel that much more confident about what this player can be able to do. But seeing him finishing that defensive end and Jalen Tolbert scoring that game-winning touchdown, that was fireworks. When playing a guard position, teams prefer players who can get out in space and be effective lead blockers. If you can do this well, running backs like Rico Dowdle, Zeke, Hunter Luckby can all make big time plays. Some guards in the league can't even move like this. But TJ Bass, having played tackle in college, has the ability to move, which is a huge advantage, Cowboys Nation. And this was a pivotal play in the game and great execution by Hunter Luckby. So we'll go ahead and run it. So locking on this play here, Dak Prescott gets the ball. TJ Bass, he's attacking number 92, and then he pushes off of him. Number 92, he falls to the ground. But it's good to see TJ Bass, he's in the open field, observing everything, being that lead blocker. Locking in on number 39, he's closing in on him and pushes him away from Hunter. And with that push right there, that can be the difference of 4 to 5 yards. And it was so key on this play. And with Hunter, if you give him the opportunity, he's a hard-nosed running back that can get you extra yards. That's why a lot of these coaches, they stress to play to the whistle. You never know if a player can be able to slither through, and next thing you know, it can end up being a touchdown. But every yard matters when it comes down to the game of football. If you're run blocking, if you're pass blocking, you got to go out there and do your job. And it's not perfect with him when it comes down to being in the open field, but you do see that he can be able to make these plays from time to time. So this was another positive rep by TJ Bass. Here's a rep here where he was a little too aggressive. running too far to the left. This gave linebacker Peyton Wilson the opportunity to make a move and close in on a running back. Sometimes overaggression can give defenders the advantage, and you end up being the reason for the negative play. And you don't want to have that weakest link type of energy. So you've got to be patient and go with the flow of the rep. So let's run it. So watching this play here, you see TJ Bass. He's not assigned to anybody on the defensive line. So he's storming off the ball. And next thing you know, Peyton Wilson was his guy. And the thing is, with a guy like Peyton Wilson, he's that player that came out last year and he ran a 4.3. So you know he has short area quickness. He can juke these offensive linemen. So you can't be overly aggressive when it comes down to these players because that can allow them to have a beeline to get straight to the running back. He actually turned around and watched the whole play because he knew that that was his assigned guy. And these plays will happen. It's not going to be perfect when it comes down to a guy like TJ Bass. There will be some bad reps, but there will be a lot of good reps to come with it. But being overly aggressive, you got to pay attention to that because if he was able to get a body on Wilson, we already seen what Tyler Smith did to that corner. That could have definitely ended up being a touchdown on this play. But being on the field, you got to take the good with the bad, learn from your mistakes, and keep grinding. It's only going to get you better. When facing defensive tackles, you'll encounter some players who are not only powerful, but also slippery. Interior pressure is one of the hardest things to get around, especially when these players are charging straight at the quarterback. And to slow these guys down, you got to have proper hand placement, maintaining the right position, and exercising patience. You got to make sure that you're on top of it. And this is another one of those reps that TJ Bass can learn from. So we'll go ahead and run it. So watching this play here and using the magnifying glass on that foot, you see how he's planting like that? Sometimes these defensive tackles, they can completely put their weight on it. And next thing you know, they're spinning off and they're trying to be slick. And that was actually a really good move from that defensive tackle. Usually you don't see guys that can make moves that quickly, but that one plant with his foot and that spin off can be the biggest difference on his rep. Closing in and attacking Dak Prescott. He still was able to pass the ball to CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb did not catch the ball, but Dak still threw a catchable pass. But with TJ Bass, as well as guys like Tyler Guyton, sometimes they can get caught lunging. So you got to pay attention to little things like that because these defensive tackles, they'll plant their foot. Next thing you know, they're spinning off and they're attacking Dak. And we don't want things like that to go down as far as these plays with these defensive ends and especially that interior pressure with these defensive tackles. But we got to break down the good and the bad. What can he be able to do to go out there and take that next step? And he hasn't had too much play time, so we knew that there will be some bad plays, but you could tell with TJ Bass, he's a player that's willing to learn from his mistakes and move on to the next rep. With TJ Bass, we seen on the second clip, he was able to help out Tyler Smith, finishing that defensive end, and he did the same thing for Cooper Beebe. And with Cooper Beebe, he's already a physical center, so if he's getting extra help, 9 times out of 10, the defender's going to end up on the ground. And that's exactly what happened on this rep. So we'll go ahead and run it. So locking in on Cooper Beebe and TJ Bass, that defender, he bluffed out in coverage, so TJ Bass wasn't assigned to anybody. But the good thing about this player, he'll lock in and keep himself busy, thumping this defender and laying this guy right on his melon. And this is what you want to see when it comes down to Cooper Beebe, TJ Bass, giving Dak Prescott a clean pocket and going out there and hitting Kevontae Turpin. Cash. And I'm so happy to see Kevontae Turpin having an impact in his offense because his speed, what he can be able to do down the field, I think that he can really be a big-time threat. But as far as TJ Bass, that combo block, going out there and flooring that defender, giving Dak Prescott time to be able to make a big-time throw, these are the type of plays here that we envision for this offense. They have the players, but they got to go out there and get it done. TJ Bass may not be the starter, but when he gets on the field, he's making plays. His physicality, ability to get out in space, and good peripheral vision are exactly the traits we want to see. When a player shows these qualities, we feel that much more confident in them when their number is called. this final play here is another one of those reps where I wanted to point out of him being able to remove the defender, having an ability to be able to drive him away from the run lane. You love those gritty type of offensive linemen, and TJ Bass definitely has that in him. So let's run it. So zooming in on TJ Bass, he's firing off the ball and he attacks that defensive lineman. And it's so good because he's on the side of that defender and he's driving his legs, completely wiping him out of the play and giving Rico Dowdle a nice lane in the inside. And with Rico Dowdle, he had himself a very good game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we're going to definitely need more of that from him. But when you're around guys like Cooper Beebe, Tyler Smith, Zach Martin, it's only going to bring out a better TJ Bass. But he's going to have to be a sponge. He's going to have to continue learning. And when he does get on the field, he's got to be ready to play. So I was impressed by what Tyler Smith and TJ Bass did on the field with Tyler Guyton being hurt. So it's going to be good to see how it all plays out as far as the offensive line. But I am so happy to see Tyler Smith and TJ Bass go out there and have good games. It wasn't perfect, but they went out there and had some dominating reps. There will be times where we might need Tyler Smith at that left tackle position or TJ Bass at the guard position. So they have to be ready to play, as well as guys like Brock Hoffman. But with TJ Bass being a sponge and getting down to the little things, that's what's going to be able to allow him to be able to take that next step. And going up against a stout defense like the Steelers, that can lead you to the right direction. So comment below and let me know what y'all think about TJ Bass's performance and if y'all feel good about him lining up in that starting position if needed. So make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe and hit that notification bell because the way the YouTube algorithm works, if you don't hit it, you'll miss on fire live streams and the best Cowboys film sessions on YouTube. All right, Cowboys Nation. Talk to y'all soon. Gone.